Hey friends, my name is Bond, this is Oleg, and in today's video we're going to review a diver watch. This is Halios Fairwind and it's the best microbrand watch that I've featured on this YouTube channel so far. In today's video I'm going to review it and try to explain why it's the best microbrand watch and why these watches sell out in 20 minutes. This is my first time reviewing a Halios watch, even though these guys have been around for a long time and they're even from the same city as I'm located, Vancouver, Canada. The company was founded in 2009, so over a decade ago. They have some experience and they released quite a few different models. Fairwind model that I have in my hand has a diameter of 39 millimeters. It's about 48 millimeters from one lug to another, and it has first female link, so it's a true 48 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug opening, and it's only 12.7 millimeters thick, including the domed sapphire crystal. The sapphire crystal has some AR undercoating. The watch has 200 meters of water resistance. It is powered by the Sellita SW200 movement, and the price is $775 if you can buy one. Jody from Just One More Watch did a review of Halios Fairwind, and he compared Halios to a Rolex of microbrands. They have great quality, very desirable watches, but extremely difficult to find, and they dictate premium on the resale market. This specific watch here belongs to a friend of mine, Chris. He lent quite a few different watches for reviews. Give him a shout out in the comment section below. And when he tried to buy this watch from Halios when it was just released, he couldn't. It was sold out within 20 minutes. Lucky for Chris, one of his friends bought this watch, didn't really click with it, and traded Chris for something else. So that's how Chris got his hands on this watch, and that's how I got my hands on this watch. This diver has an all stainless steel construction, bracelet and the case. Nice brushed finish on this case, except for a few chamfered edges on the lugs. It's well executed, nice sharp contrast between polished and brushed finishes. The bracelet fits nice and tight into the case. There's no big gap, there's no much separation between the first link and the case. We see a screw down crown at the 3 o'clock position. It's done in high polish, once again giving a little bit of contrast between the brushed case finish and the high polished crown. It is almost like an onion crown that you would see on pilot watches, but not quite. Nice design, Halios logo signed. As I mentioned, screw down crown helping with the 200 meters of water resistance. We see a domed sapphire crystal. Now I'm gonna have a bit of a negative with this domed sapphire crystal, and it's just very specific to me. These watches are so damn hard to photograph and they're so damn difficult to put on video because the reflections are just crazy. If you take this watch outside, it's not like it's not legible, but it's just so difficult to photograph. You just see reflections all over the place. I think that sort of problem happens when you have a vintage inspired diver, especially if it has a domed sapphire crystal and a sapphire bezel insert. Speaking of the bezel, it's a 60 click bidirectional bezel, meaning it turns in both directions. I think this bezel actually has ceramic bearings and it's super satisfying to turn. The bezel action is just so smooth. Buttery smooth, nice firm clicks, and of course it aligns perfectly. The bezel is lumed, so is the dial. Here's a lume shot for you. High contrast, you can definitely see every number on the bezel. You can definitely see quite a few layers of lume applied on this dial. Nice and even application, super bright lume. I would compare this to the best of Seiko and Zelos lumes. It's just really well done. Taking a closer look at this dial, it is sort of a step dial where you see indices are all applied and they have a bit of a ramp coming up from the center portion of the dial. Printed Halios and logo by the 12 o'clock position, and printed Fairwind and 20 atmospheres closer to the 6 o'clock position. You notice it doesn't have Swiss made on the dial, it says automatic. From my understanding, Halios could have put Swiss made on the dial because the watch qualifies to be as Swiss made, but they just made a call that it's not worth it, it's more of a marketing tactic than anything else. So they decided not to put Swiss made on the dial. If it was me, I would prefer Swiss made on the dial. Maybe I'm just shallow like that. But nevertheless, it's not on the dial and it's not a big deal. One of my favorite things about this dial is the symmetry of the dial. You can see that Halios and the logo and Fairwind and 20 atmospheres look very symmetrical. They almost mirror each other. you can definitely tell that a lot of thought went into designing this watch. The set of hands is fairly basic: stick, hour, and minute hand. However, the seconds hand has a bit of a design flair. It has that arrow tip at the edge, and I like that this seconds hand reaches all the way out to the seconds or minutes running track. From my experience, a lot of watches in that under $1,000 price category lack the bracelet quality. They might have great specs, they might have good looking design, but they don't have the bracelet. They don't have that X factor. Well, I'm happy to say that Halios nailed it. This bracelet is excellent. First of all, as I mentioned, it has that first female link, so it doesn't protrude too much past your wrist. The bracelet is finished in all brushed finishing, except for a little bit of a chamfered edge on the edge of these links. Screw in place pins, and take a look at this clasp. It's 2 pushers to open it up, a scissor clasp on the inside, but what separates good clasp from a great clasp is the amount of engineering that goes into it. And man, this one has something that I've never seen in any other watch before. If you take a look at this logo, it's actually not just a nice looking logo, it is also a button. When you push this button, it acts as a micro adjustment feature, so you can extend or take away about a link in length. Really well executed. You don't even have to take it off your wrist to use that quick extension feature. Something that I've never seen before, and something that's so genius and so simple. I mean, it's simple in theory. I'm sure a lot of engineering went into designing it. I wish more companies offered this type of ingenuity with their watches. There is one small negative with this type of design, and I'm not really gonna count it as a negative, but something you should be aware of is that this button is on the bottom of your clasp. So a few times while I was working on a computer and I had my hand on the desk, I would press the button by accident and extend the bracelet. It only happened a few times, but since this is a review and maybe you'll be making your purchasing decision based on this video, at least now you know. Here's what the watch looks like on my 7.5 inches wrist. For some people, 39 millimeters might be too small, especially if you have larger wrist or if you prefer larger watches. For me, it's a sweet spot. I really like the fit of this watch. I like how the case curves in and hugs the wrist. It's not overly thick at under 13 millimeters. Just everything about this fit works. Now the watch does have a bit of a longer lug-to-lug distance, 48 millimeters. So if you have a smaller wrist, the watch might look a little bit too long on your wrist. Not necessarily the diameter, but the lug-to-lug distance might be a little bit out of place. At the beginning of this video, I said that this is the best microbrand watch that I've reviewed on this YouTube channel. And I think it is. Now the specs are great. It has a Celita movement, it has the sapphire crystal, it has the sapphire bezel insert, great lume, 200 meters of water resistance, pretty much every spec that you would expect in a diver watch. What separates a good diver watch or a good watch in general from a great watch is the attention to detail. And that's where Halios really stands out. If you take a look at these pins, the screw in place pins that hold bracelet together, the screws are so well done. They're of a really good quality. I never felt like I was gonna chip the screw if I were to adjust this bracelet. The clasp, fantastic engineering. The quality is just outstanding. The finishes on the case are outstanding. Everything lines up perfectly. There are no imperfections on the dial. The design is very well thought out. Just a lot of engineering, a lot of thought went into this watch. You can tell when you have a good product in your hand, when you have something that's well engineered in your hand in front of your eyes, you can just tell. You can tell that it's a good quality product, and that's why these watches are so popular. That's why these watches dictate premium on the resale market. I can definitely appreciate why these watches are so popular. I wish nothing but the best for Halios watches, and I'm really excited to see what they come up with next. Thanks for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We release new videos every week. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this Halios watch. Is $775 too much for a micro brand, even though it has great specs and finishes? Let me know your thoughts. I always enjoy reading your comments. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing my Laurier Gemini, another microbrand watch. I actually haven't done a review of this watch yet. A little sneak preview for you, what's coming in the weeks to follow. Of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss that review when it comes up. Check out the description box for this video. I have 2 links in there. The first link is a secret link. The second link is a link to bonnativesstraps.com. Have a look if you're curious. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I know you were sleeping and I woke you up. I'm sorry. But people demand to see you. That's what you think? That's what you think? Okay, you can go back to sleep. Right after we do this intro, you can go back to sleep.